Is their car still in front, Fairy? I said, is their car still in front?
Oh, Fairy. Florence was speaking to you.
I'm sorry, Florence. I was watching the fireflies. What did you say?
I said, can you see if they've left yet?
I wish I'd been born a cat so I could see in the dark.
I don't think I'm gonna wait for them. I'm gonna get a book and go to my room.
Does your jaw hurt tonight, Jeff?
Not bad.
Then stay a little longer. We'd like to have you.
Jeff, you've already invested 267 minutes in waiting. Surely you can afford an additional 10 cents worth.
Very well, my statistical friend. My curiosity is good for 10 minutes more.
I wonder what she's like. Miss Willie says they're one of the wealthiest families in America.
That's bad. She'll have an expensive camera she can't work, or rave about an artist I've never heard of.
Oh, cynic. Has money spoiled me?
Do you have money, Fairy?
Bags.
Let's not be prejudiced about money. Some of my best friends are wealthy. Hannibal, play something while we're waiting. Help distract Jeff.
Well, you catch me tuned. What shall I play?
Surprise us.
How about a Gypsy Zardes?
Please don't play gypsy music, Hannibal. It frightens me.
Frightens you.
Terrifies me. When I was a child, I was stolen by gypsies and rescued just as they were about to dye my skin with walnut juice. Well, I was.
Go ahead, Hannibal.
I hope she likes music. Maybe she plays some instrument herself. The harp. Oh, I hope she plays the harp. All my life. I'm sorry, Hannibal. Go ahead. I was raised on a harp. My father, like an angel.
Jeff, what are you doing?
Oh, there's a book I want on the top shelf. I'm sorry, Temple.
Fairy, get the book for Jeff so we can listen to Hannibal. Wait, I'll get a chair.
No, Harry, it's okay. I can get it.
No, Jeffrey. Climbing on chairs is women's work. Men have mountains. Which book did you want?
The Lifespan of the Ape.
People give the strangest books to this library. I didn't like Forbidden Tibet.
You know, it's amazing what standing above people does. Did you know I feel smarter than anybody in the whole world?
It's the yellow one.
Books are in my blood. My mother invented the filing system at the New York Library. She was queen of cross-indents.
I'll get Jeff's book, Fairy.
No, 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 no. Musicians shouldn't work.
Be careful, Fairy. Don't get dust in your eyes.
Are you sure you wouldn't like animal husbandry? I can reach that.
This time, it's gotta be the Lifespan of the Ape.
Here, goose it out with this. Lights! Turn the lights back on!
Hannibal, get to the switch before
Someone
someone's hurt.
please turn the
Don't let
lights
them
back
fall.
on!
Looks like Mrs. Patty is back.
Lights, lights, lights!
Please, Mrs. Patty, let us keep the lights on.
Some night, you're going to turn out the lights at the wrong time and hurt somebody. Then you'll be sorry. I do wish you chose to give something else up for Lent.
It's unfair to make the rest of us suffer to get you into heaven, Mrs. Patty.
Other people like electricity. Now you sit at your easel like a good girl and leave the lights alone.
I must say, you startled us, Miss Willie. We thought you were in the front office.
For Pete's sake, Fairy, what are you up to?
I was just getting a book for Jeffrey.
With a violin bow?
I couldn't quite reach it.
I certainly didn't mean to cause this much commotion. Please, forget it.
No, Jeffrey, I'll get it for you. Everyone watch his own head! There you are, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
You may take the bow, Miss Willie. You may take my hand, Hannibal.
The next time anybody wants a book from the top, Fairy, call me. Why, the whole shelf could have fallen on you.
Oh, whoever heard of being hurt by good books?
Enough of them might, darling, and I'd hate for that to happen.
I hate everything in the world. But most of all, I hate cold cream hot dogs, codfish, crawfish, catfish, catnip, sheep dip, sawdust, subways, sewers, skewers, buttermilk, caterpillars, frictions, fractions, pins, policemen, and electricity!
Miss Willie, how much longer will we have to wait?
What is she like, Miss Willie?
I haven't seen her. Let's tidy up the room a bit. Fairy, will you put the Parcheesi board away?
They're taking an awfully long time in the front office.
Is she young or old, Miss Willie?
All I know and she gets the blooper.
I hope she isn't beautiful. Competition exhausts me.
Oh, you had that one in a hurry, Bingo.
Please don't call me that, Miss Willie. It's a pet name my wife uses.
I forgot.
And I do wish you wouldn't single me out to a kiss.
You're the handsomest.
What if my wife came to call and saw a strange woman kissing me? She'd explode.
She would if I know her.
Would you please try to remember?
I'll try. Forgive me? Hello? Yes, Dr. Abbott. Right away. Put the dartboard up, Hannibal. Let's not clutter the pace, darlings. We want to make a good first impression.
Will we meet her now?
I don't know.
We haven't had anyone exciting here since that magician's wife. Remember, she was all nerves from being sawed in half so much. What was her name?
Something hyphenated.
I forget. But she had color. All my relations are so drab. Both my parents were albinos.
Really, Fairy, you shouldn't invent such things.
Well, they were. Emotional albinos.
Oh, Fairy, don't peek. It's so degrading to get on your knees.
You get on your knees to pray, don't you? I'll say a prayer. Dear God, let me see something.
See anything?
Yes, I do. God was quick.
What do you see?
Someone coming out of Dr. Emmett's office.
Who?
1, 2, 3 strange people. They're coming in here. Let's hide in the hall and eavesdrop.
Is that ethical, Jeff?
You know we'll be sent out anyhow.
We could call it espionage.
Come, Mrs. Patty, we're going to spy.
I'll grab the light switch. It's rude to let guests enter a dark room.
This is the last time I'm going to make party and thinking, Fairy. Kneeling simply ruins my bylaws.
I mustn't get excited or I'll get hiccups and betray us.
Dr. Emmett will join you in a moment.
Please tell him that if there is nothing more, we'd like to get started back.
Yes, Senator Savage. No magazines on the table, please. Make yourselves at home.
Well, Titus, are you reassured now?
Somewhat. It certainly doesn't look like an institution.
Not at all.
Mother will be contented and happy here, I'm sure. It's a charming place.
I just hope we haven't made a mistake.
Darling, the only mistake we made was in not taking steps sooner.
I don't like to be thought insensitive. Perhaps it would have been wiser to have kept her at home with an attendant.
That would have been disastrous.
No, you're hard.
Someone has to be practical.
You're callous. You've married too many foreigners.
Samuel, darling, we've already done what had to be done. Let's not quarrel about it, please.
Lilybell is right. This is civilized behavior.
I'm sorry to have delayed you. I was anxious for Dr. Johnson to question your mother.
This is quite the place you have here, Doctor. It's been a great relief to us to have found it so cheerful.
But then again, we were assured that your place offered the best that money could buy.
We hope we offer the best that experience can provide.
One thing I meant to ask you, Doctor. Will Mother be exposed to any danger here?
Not at all. The guests in the swing are on their final stage of treatment. They're extremely kind and cooperative. On the surface, most of them would seem quite normal, as say yourself, Senator.
You don't say.
While I have you, Senator, I'd like to ask a few more questions about this memorial fund of your mother's.
There's a little more to tell. She planned on using it to give away the entire Savage estate.
The newspapers called it her happiness fund.
Was this money in difference to something recent?
I wouldn't say so.
Mother's always given money to foolish causes.
Mind being a bit more specific?
Well, there was an Italian farmer who wanted a box of soil from Italy.
Just dirty.
Mother spent $200 to get it for him.
Then there was a flower peddler who wanted a tombstone for his horse.
He got it.
After Father died, his obsession got progressively worse. Last summer, she chartered a ship to send 1,000 school children around the world.
Why?
She said they ought to go around the world while there was still a world around.
We stopped her just as she was on the verge of setting up this fund legally.
With a board of directors.
With a fantastic board of directors. Not a banker, a bishop, or a lawyer among them.
Whom did she choose?
A postman, a gardener, a veterinarian, and herself.
We should have known her mind was going the day she decided to go on the stage.
Oh, that! Have you ever heard of such a case, Doctor? What would make a woman of her age suddenly decide to become an actress.
The unique is routine here, Senator. Nothing surprises us.
If she had been talented or even vain, I could have understood it.
But she wasn't. She was quiet, even timid. And then suddenly this amazing change.
Grief did it.
But why turn to acting? Life has enough drama in it.
God knows.
Isn't that right, Doctor?
As Judge Savage says, God knows.
And I wish you could explain that bear to us.
Obvious exhibitionism.
Exactly.
She took a childish delight in being seen everywhere with that teddy bear.
Anything to indulge this sudden love of notoriety.
Her entire conduct was a travesty of dignity and self-respect.
And sound business.
Can you tell me, Senator, has this ever been a pattern in your mother's family before?
Frankly, I wouldn't know.
Oh, well, you see, Doctor, she's not actually our mother. Father remarried when we were children.
Oh, I see.
But it has never made any difference in our feelings towards her.
Well, I'm afraid I can't be of much help until I've been able to observe her conduct here.
You're the doctor.
And we know she'll be comfortable in such a charming place.
I wouldn't mind staying here myself.
This is no place to laugh, Sim.
But we encourage laughter here, Senator. We think it healthy.
You do.
Yes, we think it's good therapy. For as Byron says, and if I laugh at any moral thing, 'tis that I may not weep.
Of course. Of course.
Yes, Miss Willie.
I beg your pardon, Dr. Emmett, but Dr. Johnson won't be able to complete Miss Savage's files for the moment.
Why not?
He finds her a little uncooperative.
Then bring her in, please. Yes, Doctor. While you're saying your goodbyes, I'll have a step out and talk to Dr. Johnson.
Oh, please don't go, Doctor.
Please, Doctor.
We'd prefer you stayed. The shorter we make this, the better for all concerned.
She's vindictive.
For some reason, Doctor, she holds me responsible.
We'll have to give her a little more time to get over her resentment.
Will you come in, Mrs. Savage?
Would you have a seat, Mrs. Savage?
We waited to say goodbye to you, Mother.
I do not like thee, Lilybell. The reason why I cannot tell, but this I know and know full well. I do not like thee, Lilybell.
She's been chanting that over and over all the way down here.
Your children are leaving, Mrs. Savage. Wouldn't you like to say goodbye to them? They would like to say goodbye to you.
The fireflies are out. How lovely. Do you know what makes fireflies light up, Doctor? Are they mating?
I really couldn't say.
I thought you'd know. Isn't this the bug house?
This is the Cloisters. This is going to be your home. I'm Dr. Emmett.
Wouldn't it be fascinating if human beings glowed like fireflies when they are mating? Do you light up when you're mating, Lilybell? Lord knows you're flighty.
Might as well go, Titus. She's going to be unpleasant again.
Surely, Mother, you're not going to allow us to depart in an atmosphere of bitterness.
50 needles and 50 pins and 50 dirty Republicans.
She's determined to take the wrong attitude.
Futile.
Well, time will take care of this. Come, Sam.
We'll send down more of her clothes later, Doctor. We couldn't pack but one grip under the circumstances.
Well, Sunday's visit. My apologies. Sunday is Visitor's Day if you care to bring them down then.
My sister is returning to Paris next week. We'll make the necessary arrangements. Good night, Mother.
If you need anything, Mrs. Savage, Miss Wilhelmina will take care of you.
Exaggeration. Stupid of me to try to irritate them. I only irritate myself. Well, I suppose it has to be exasperating now to be funny later.
I noticed one of its eyes is gone. It must have fallen out in the office. I'll check as soon as they leave.
Don't bother. It fell out last fall at the opera. I'd have found it too, but the usher was so nasty about me lighting matches during the Magic Fire show. You do know what this is, don't you?
Suppose you tell them.
It's a teddy bear. Surely you've seen one?
Not that big.
Do you know what I do with it?
I couldn't possibly guess.
I sleep with it.
Do you?
I do. Are you going to talk to me if I were an imbecile too?
Here. We must be hostile.
Of course. You haven't done anything to harm me. Would you care to know why I sleep with it?
If you care to tell me.
I don't care. And I will tell you. I'm lonely. I'm too old to have a lover and too fastidious to sleep with a cat.
Then by all means, you must take its bed with you. Would you care to take off your hat?
If I'm going to be spending the rest of my life here, I might as well.
It's a mighty saucy hat.
10-cent piece of felt and 3 chicken feathers. $85. Why economy should be so expensive, I don't know.
It takes imagination.
And the blood of pirates. But I wanted it. I wanted a hat like this since I was 16. For all the good it does me now. Perhaps you can use it. I'm not at all for sure what.
I think you'd better keep it. You might need it.
Oh dear, dear! My hair looks like the matted end of a coconut.
Oh, I don't think so. It's a heavenly color.
You should have seen it last fall. I dyed it bright red, and then, just to be different, I dyed it black with a white streak in the middle. I looked nothing as much as a skunk. Finally, I just gave up and tinted it blue. It goes with everything.
Well, it'll certainly go with your room. Would you like to go up and get settled?
Is it time to lock me up?
I wouldn't dream of locking you up. Did you bring a suitcase?
My daughter did. I wasn't consulted.
Well, I'll get it and take you up. There'll be time to explore your surroundings tomorrow. You can wait here.
Alone?
Of course.
No handcuffs?
We have honor system.
Honor system indeed.
Hello?
Miss Willie says the bars are only there to keep the world outside. Corny, isn't it? Oh, it's alive! Now, Fairy, you must stop frightening yourself.
The poor thing's quite harmless.
It won't bite?
It won't shed, lay eggs, or bark. And to the best of my knowledge, it's unvexed by sex. Couldn't be less trouble.
In that case, any friend of yours is a friend of mine. Perhaps we should introduce ourselves. You must be Mrs. Savage. I'm Florence Williams.
How do you do?
We've been expecting you all afternoon. We're so happy to finally have you with us. May I introduce Fairy May? Say you love me.
Gracious, we just met.
Oh, you don't have to mean it. I feel wonderful when people say they love me.
I'm sure everyone loves you.
You see, I told you she wouldn't be spoiled. Welcome to the cloisters. Climate best by government test.
Thank you.
And this is Hannibal. And this is our Mrs. Patty.
How do you do, Mrs. Patty?
I hate everything in the world! But most of all, I hate lightning, scum cabbage, custard, mustard, spiders, blisters, girdles, mice, bees, keys, rats, chloroform, rhubarb, barnacles, bats, broken glass, ears, rooms, juice, tombstones, ghosts, soap, and thunder!
Why don't you like rhubarb?
Mrs. Patty won't answer you, Mrs. Savage. She'll only recite the things she hates.
Sweet, but stubborn. Mrs. Patty stopped talking about 20 years ago.
Why?
She got mad.
husband told her to shut up.
And she did.
She gave up conversation for life.
But she's only giving up electricity for Lent.
You're a woman of wisdom, Mrs. Patty. There's only one thing wiser than saying very little, and that's saying nothing at all. Would you like to hold it?
She likes you.
I like her.
Oh, you haven't met Jeff. Come here, Jeff.
Please excuse my left hand.
Certainly. Is it a toothache?
Jeff's face is scarred and he likes to spare people.
Well, you needn't spare me. I have to look at myself every morning.
Dr. Addett refuses to let me wear a bandage, so.
Well, we have to humor our doctors once in a while.
And now you have met everyone. We are a small group in this wing, and we hope you find us comfortable to be with.
But Mrs. Savage hasn't met everyone. She hasn't met the Holy Terror.
Of course! How stupid of me.
Where is he, Florence?
Well, he was here a few moments ago. John Thomas!
He might have gone out into the hall, Florence.
I'll see. John Thomas! You won't hurt her, will you?
Gracious, why would I?
You won't object, will you?
Well, what is John Thomas?
Her son! What did you think?
Here?
Oh yes, he was born here. Oh, I can't.
Oh, look, sleep on the floor. My husband warned me I'd be a bad mother. Mrs. Savage? This is my son.
You like children, don't you?
Everyone's but my own. How old is he?
5.
Oh, he's big for 5 months.
No, 5 years.
Oh, I meant years.
Will you excuse me now? I have to put him to bed.
He has the measles. I do hope you won't catch them. Excuse me.
That was exceedingly kind of you, Mrs. Savage, not to notice anything wrong.
There wasn't time to explain, but you were like lightning.
Poor Florence isn't well. We pretend for her sake. We hope you will too.
Oh, I will.
I think you should understand right away, Mrs. Savage, that except for Florence, the rest of us are free to leave here anytime we want to.
But we don't go because there's no better place to go.
You're a very lucky woman to be accepted, Mrs. Savage, if I do say so myself, and I do.
Oh, do be quiet!
Byron!
What is that?
That rude noise is a signal for us to go to our rooms.
It's the evil of the machine age. Perfect pistons and no manners.
Well, ours not to reason why. I wonder why no one ever quotes the first line. It's someone blundered.
Good night.
I didn't hear you. We never say that here. It means that there's no more.
No more what?
Oh, there's no more of so much.
Don't let Jeff's manners disturb you. During the war, his plane was shot down in flames. He hasn't quite recovered yet.
Was his face badly burned?
Oh, not at all. Jeff bailed out. But he was the only one. He lost his crew. His scar goes deeper than we can see.
Surely you've guessed by now that Hannibal and I are the only guests here free to leave. We couldn't tell you that in front of the others. We pretend to save their pride. Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Patty. I forgot you were still here. I didn't mean you anyhow. Oh, I could tear my tongue out. Would you excuse me? If I don't apologize, she'll sulk.
Barry has the gift of the good for saying the wrong thing.
I should think it'd take a bit of doing to apologize to someone who won't talk and sulks anyhow.
You'll get used to Mrs. Patty. Just treat her like a clock. Look at her to see how the day goes by, but don't expect an answer. She's happy at her easel.
Is she an artist?
I don't know whether she's an artist or not, but she paints
Portraits?
seascapes, which is rather odd because she's never seen the ocean.
I forgot to warn you, Mrs. Savage. Stay awake. If you go to your room, don't sleep.
What does she mean by not sleeping?
none of us sleeps here.
Well, where do you sleep?
We don't. Oh, we go to our rooms. We've all agreed to that in principle. But we stay awake. We never close our eyes. When you go to sleep, today ends. And when today ends, tomorrow begins. Today, we're safe. But tomorrow may be filled with disaster. You won't catch us sleeping. Could anything be simpler?
Not much.
Today's the only certainty.
Hannibal, you heard the buzzer. Why aren't you in your room?
I am in spirit, and everyone says it's the spirit that counts. Remember, fight the night.
Did they all come to see you?
Well, there was a Mrs. Patty and 4 others who have no business being here at their age.
I quite agree.
Do you think I belong here?
We're understaffed, Mrs. Savage. I'm too busy to have any opinions.
I'd like to know what they told you about me.
Was there anything to tell?
Did they mention my memorial fund?
Not to me.
Well, then perhaps they mentioned that my husband's death affected my reason,
That would be understandable.
but untrue.
Why? Weren't you happy with your husband?
I married Jonathan when I was 16. I loved him from the moment I met him to the moment he died. Do you know what that meant?
I think so.
Well, you don't, my dear. It meant that my only aim in life was to make him happy, to anticipate what he wanted. And that meant that all other things I'd ever wanted had to be forgotten.
But surely you had no regrets.
None, while he lived. But after he was gone, I found myself remembering all of the foolish things I had always wanted to do.
What had you always wanted to do?
Things that would have shocked poor Jonathan.
Such as dyeing your hair blue?
That, and studying French, and ballet lessons, and people. As a young girl, I was sure I could have been a great actress. So, with time running out, I decided to be one.
Well, don't you think you waited too long?
Certainly. Had I been a fool in my youth, no one would have noticed the difference in my old age.
Oh, I wouldn't consider you old, Mrs. Savage.
Well, having kicked over the traces myself and learned once again the importance of unimportant things, I decided I'd help others achieve the foolish things they'd always wanted
Now, how are you going to do that?
by establishing the Jonathan Savage Memorial Fund, a foundation for giving away money in memory of my husband. And that insane idea has brought me here.
Well, you won't find it too unpleasant here. Shall we go up to your room?
Well, at least I learned one thing from my French lessons.
What's that?
What I am. A mort canard. It's a dead duck, I think.
Now, it's not as bad as that.
Yes, it is. Someday you'll realize that I was always quite sane. Yet here I am. And here they will try to keep me, with my few foolish years taken from me. If people would walk around the edge of the carpet, it would save and bring it out in the middle.
Beautiful, beautiful. What will we do without you, Hannibal? You bring melody to the morning.
You could be in the concert field, Hannibal, if you work at it.
Oh, you're so right, Jeff. Golden fingertips. I simply surrender to it. I'm a rag. Come in, Mrs. Savage.
I trust you had a pleasant, sleepless night.
Lovely, thank you. Not a wink.
You've just missed Hannibal's recital.
I heard it. As a matter of fact, it's what brought me out of my room.
You wouldn't believe it, Mrs. Savage, but Hannibal never touched a violin until last year.
What makes you think I wouldn't? Compose yourself, Hannibal?
Bob, with variations of my own.
Mathematics lost was certainly our gain.
No, I don't quite follow that, Fairy.
Fairy knows that I used to be a statistician.
Thank you. Now I'm straight.
Give him a fraction to multiply.
I'm afraid I wouldn't know whether he was right or not.
My last position was with the government charting trends. I was supposed to keep my finger on the pulse of the public and my ear to the ground.
A rather vulnerable position, was it not?
Very. I was fired, replaced by an electronic calculator.
I should think you hate electricity too.
No, but I did want to make money with my brains, so I spent the next 2 years trying to think of things that could be made for a dime, sold for $1, and was habit forming. I'm afraid my education was wasted.
I'm going to send John Thomas to Princeton. Their boys aren't very bright, but they're such gentlemen. Oh, that reminds me. May we ask you a personal question, Mrs. Savage?
They're the only ones worth asking, dear.
A little bird told us that you used to be an actress. We're bursting with curiosity. Is it true?
That. Well, if being on stage makes you an actress, then I guess it's true.
Miss Willie, she's the bird Florence mentioned, told us you'd been on the New York stage.
I wonder if we've ever seen you, Mrs. Savage.
Not unless you're quick. I was actually only ever in 2 shows. The first was Macbeth.
Oh, I adore Macbeth. All that blood. I sent a pint of my blood to the Red Cross once. They sent it back.
I should think you'd be a novel departure as Lady Macbeth.
I can't tell you how much I agree with you. But they cast me as the witch.
But you're a perfect witch.
Thank you, dear.
Please, speak some witch talk for us.
I didn't have any lines. If I did, it probably would have cost me twice as much.
Why did it cost you anything?
I backed the show. If I hadn't put up the money, I couldn't have even played the mute witch. But we made history. We were the first show to close before the reviews were out.
Was it expensive?
Extremely, but worth it.
What a pity. Weren't you discouraged?
Bitterly. But man is by nature optimistic. If he weren't, he'd eat his young. So I decided to write my own play, star myself.
You wrote a play?
I did indeed, with a courage born of ignorance and a plot out of wedlock.
What part did you play then?
Naturally, the lead, not guilty, starring Ethel P. Savage.
What did the P stand for?
I haven't the faintest idea. My numerologist said I needed it in my name for luck. He was right. We ran a year.
What was the play about?
Mother who had murdered a man and was defended by a young woman lawyer who turned out to be her own daughter. I had bright red hair and died in my daughter's arms every night and 2 matinees a week. Just as the curtains came down and the jury whispered, not guilty. Oh, it was the best time of my entire life.
I gather the notices were good that time.
They were sincere. Didn't matter.
What did they say?
The Times said my play set the theater back 50 years, but couldn't possibly. Because I stole the plot from an MX, and that's only 40 years old.
Wouldn't you think they'd know?
The Wall Street Journal was wonderful. They said I brought something new to the theater.
Money? Oh, Fairy, really? Money isn't new.
What did the Wall Street say?
It said I had a tenacious mediocrity, unhampered by taste.
But that's not good.
It was perfect. In our ad, we simply said tenacious and unhampered.
And you ran a year?
We'd have been running yet if my daughter hadn't come home and stopped me. I know I was bad, and audiences only came to laugh at me, but we both had a good time. What more can you ask? I do miss it. Oh well, my turn is coming.
I don't think that was very nice of your daughter. Don't do it, please don't. Oh, Fairy, what is wrong? Look, Mrs. Savage is going to read the newspaper.
Oh, what's the matter?
I wouldn't do that if I were you, Mrs. Savage.
Please give it to me, please, Mrs. Savage.
You mustn't read it.
It'll only make you unhappy.
Now, just a moment. I know what the paper's going to say, so there's nothing you can do to hide it from me. I've just been waiting for it to happen.
Waiting for what to happen, Mrs. Savage?
Why? what it says in the paper.
But we don't know what it says in the paper.
Then why are you trying to keep me from reading it?
We have an agreement.
We never read the newspapers until they're a month old.
We find we're much happier when we wait.
What are you waiting for?
Why, naturally, we're waiting for... What do we wait for, Hannibal?
Perspective.
Peace of mind.
Security.
We believe it's better to read about bad things a month after they've happened.
It's reassuring when you know it's over and nothing could be done.
My dear people, there's something important in this paper that I'd like to know about. And I'd like to know now, not next month.
We're only trying to help you.
Yes!
Disaster is easier to digest when it's aged a little.
You're very kind. But I've made my bed and I want to know who's in it.
We can't prevent Mrs. Savage from reading the paper if she insists. We don't know her well enough to be rude.
Florence is right.
Well, if you do read anything unpleasant, don't tell us.
No!
If there's trouble in the world, it will help us to know about it.
This is yesterday's paper. I want today's paper.
Oh, it isn't here yet.
When does it get here?
I don't know.
Is there a radio here?
Yes, right over there.
Maybe I can catch the news. Why didn't anyone mention there was a radio here?
You didn't ask us.
It's not lighting up. Is there something wrong with the set?
I don't think so. Of course it hasn't any tubes.
It hasn't any what?
Tubes! Mrs. Patty steals them. She needs electricity, you know.
Nobody knows where she hides them.
Why didn't anyone mention that the set hadn't any tubes?
You didn't ask us.
Oh, dear. How high is that wall?
Much too high.
It's easily 10 chairs high.
And I suppose no one ever leaves the great gate open.
Don't look beyond the garden, Mrs. Savage. There may be a better place somewhere, but if you leave this to search for it, you may not find it. You lose what you have.
You'll like it here after a while.
Except in January. The rooms get a little cold. We like you already.
It isn't that I don't find you all enchanting, but you...
But we what? Please don't say anything mean. Oh, do be still. We have to go, Mrs. Savage.
But go where?
It's garden hour.
We each have little plots and we plant things. You can plant anything you wish. Vegetables or flowers. Last year I planted birdseed to see what would come up. What did come up there? Nothing, but it was a rich horticultural experience.
There's a beautiful evergreen in the center. At Christmas, it has lights on it saying, "Merry Christmas, keep out."
Come with us, Mrs. Savage. I'll show you my delphiniums.
No, you go without me. I'll just stay here. I've some serious thinking to do.
But the buzzer buzzed. One has to follow orders.
May I ask why you're doing that, Mrs. Savage?
Oh, I believe in wearing a carpet out evenly.
Oh, how prudent. I'm going to help you.
But don't you have to guard it?
This is more constructive. I'll help too. We must all do our share.
But I didn't mean to start a procession.
Come on, boys. Many feet make light work.
Why not? It's a refreshing change. Most women lead us in circles.
Go ahead, Mrs. Savage. We're behind you.
But oh, I feel like a Pied Piper.
You step on leaves, Jeff. Hannibal can take buds. Mrs. Savage can have roses. And the rest of us will walk on thorns. Do you know what we're doing, Miss Willie? Wearing out the carpet evenly? Oh, someone told you.
Didn't I hear the buzzer ring garden hour?
I didn't hear it. I think it's broken.
Fairy, aren't you ashamed?
Oh, I wish I were dead.
I'm afraid this is my fault, Miss Willie.
I didn't feel like gardening anyhow.
Well, you've worked so hard on your flowers, Florence. Do you want them to die?
I don't want anything to die! Oh, that's so true. Florence wouldn't hurt a fly. She catches them and puts them out the window. Flies adore her.
I think we
the garden. Fairy, will you share your seats with Mrs. Savage? Get along now. You're not going to go with them, Mrs. Savage?
I wanted to speak to you. Alone.
All right. What can I do for you?
A great deal. And it might be that I can do a great deal for you, too.
Are you about to offer me a bribe, Mrs. Savage?
How did you guess?
Everyone does, at first.
Still, my offer's a little different. I have the money. I will give you $20,000 to leave that door open tonight. $30,000.
Don't you like this, Mrs. Savage?
That's the most irritating answer to a sound business offer, my dear. $40,000. You could be free of this place.
But I don't want to be free of this place.
$50,000. You could travel the world, see Cairo, Mandalay, the South Pacific.
But I've been to Cairo, and the Mandalay, and the South Pacific.
You have?
I spent 4 years as an army.
Still, you should be able to use $50,000.
Now where would you get $50,000, Mrs. Savage? That's a fortune.
Oh, never mind. I can get it. And in the current idiom, 50,000 is peanuts.
Oh, I believe you. But I'm afraid I have to refuse.
Then you leave me no choice but to burn the place down.
Oh, you wouldn't do that.
Oh, yes, I would.
Oh, no, you wouldn't. Too many people here wouldn't know how to save themselves. You think of them first.
If you believe I belong here, then why are you appealing to my reason?
I wasn't. I was appealing to your emotion.
Still, I should be able to get out of here soon enough. It's just that bribing you would have been cheaper. Now it would cost me a couple of million at least.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. Is Mrs. Savage downstairs?
She just this minute went out to the garden.
What is her state of mind this morning?
The usual pattern. She's already offered me a bribe.
What'd she offer you?
The highest yet. 50,000. Poor dear.
Did she sound confident?
Definitely manic. She talked as if she still controlled her own affairs.
Apparently she does. Read this. I just got off the phone with her children. They're practically out of their minds themselves. The senator is leaving Washington at once, then to get his sister in New York and the judge in Boston and to be here by tonight.
This is the most amazing story I've ever read. When did they discover it?
I gathered this morning. They asked me to confine her to her room.
$10 million. That has to be a typographical error, isn't it?
No, they had it all right.
But what could she have done with it?
As your son says, God knows.
Could she have spent it?
I doubt it. Will you call her? I better tell her what to expect.
Oh, Mrs. Savage, will you come here, please? Doctor would like to speak with you. Are you going to place her in seclusion?
Of course not. But sometimes I wish there were ways of placing relations in seclusion. I always find them much more trouble.
Do you think she knows what happened to the money?
If she does, she's the only one.
Do you think there's a method to her madness?
Miss Willie, I find it harder every day to say exactly where reason ends and madness begins. For the moment, I have to accept the presumptive evidence of her stepchildren.
Well, from what I've heard, her son's record in Congress would give any good psychiatrist a nasty turn.
It certainly would. And then sensationalism of her daughter's 6 divorces doesn't speak too fondly on her emotional stability either.
Did you want me, Doctor?
Good morning. Yes. Leave her on the switchboard, Miss Willie. Miriam has been deluged with calls from newspapers. Please sit down.
I think I know what you're going to tell me.
Do you?
I see you have this morning's papers. I wonder how long it would take them to find out.
Then you're aware of what you've done and the consequences.
It's too early for consequences. May I see?
can expect them by tonight.
Indeed we can. Well, I'm not going anywhere.
How could you have possibly spent $10 million without someone knowing about it?
Who said I spent it?
That paper says you did.
What do they know? I didn't spend it. I couldn't have. I hid it.
You hid it.
In nice $500,000 negotiable bonds that can't be traced.
Why?
I don't ask what you do with your money, doctor.
I'm sorry this has happened, Mrs. Savage, but I'm afraid your hidden treasure is going to prove a great disadvantage to you.
That's because you're a doctor. Doctors never know the value of money.
Do you know how long it would take me to earn that much money?
Oh, excuse me, I just came back from my violin. Barry May wants music while she plants her seeds.
Just a moment, Hannibal. You were a statistician. How long would it take the average doctor to earn $10 million?
Well, he'd have to start before Christ was born and work his way up to the burning of Rome, up to the burning of St. Joan and Savonarola, with time out, of course, for the Norman Conquest, the Crusades, the 100 Years' War, the 30 Years' War, and the 7 Years' War. So he'd have to work double time during the discovery of America, up to penicillin and bubblegum. But that's without deducting federal tax, state tax, city tax, school tax, and luxury tax. You'd add about 100 years for that.
Thank you, Hannibal. It's a great deal to be responsible for, Mrs. Savage.
Now what's the doctor up to?
A bit of emotional blackmail, I suspect. Hannibal, would you guess to look at me that I'm worth $10 million on the hook?
Oh, never. Well, the human body is only 20 cents worth of calcium in it, 5 cents worth of iodine, 20 cents worth of phosphorus, and, well, even at present high prices, no person's worth over $1.50.
So you only value me at $1.50?
Oh, never. No, you said worth. Your value's inestimable.
Hannibal, I like you. I like you very much. You make me feel important. You make me feel like dancing.
Splendid. What shall I play?
Anything.
I'm very good on The Flight of the Bumblebee.
Could anything be more appropriate? The bees come home and find the honey's gone. Someone is going to get stung. Play, Hannibal.
Are you reading?
Yes, dear.
Is it interesting?
Very.
I'm not disturbing you, am I?
Now, what makes you say that? What's the matter, Fairy?
Nothing. It's just that no one has said they love me this livelong day.
Why, yes, they have.
Oh, no, they haven't. I've been waiting.
I heard Florence say it at the dinner table.
Did I?
She said, "Don't eat too fast, Fairy."
Was that saying that she loved me?
Well, why, of course. People say it when they say, "Take an umbrella, it's raining." Or, "Hurry back." Or even, "Watch out, we'll break your neck." There are hundreds of ways of wording it. You just have to listen for it, my dear.
My dentist said I have perfect occlusion. Do you think he was telling me he loved me?
Oh, why, of course. Well, the first time I met my husband, we were horseback riding, and he said I had a good seat. I knew immediately he loved me.
Oh, thank you. I've been missing so much. Oh, my dentist loves me.
Now, is there anything else I can clear up for you?
Nothing. I'm sorry I disturbed you. Thank you and forgive me.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes?
I'm keeping score and the boys won't help me. What's 7 and 5 and 4?
refuse to submit to the tyranny of mathematics.
Then I win.
I'll keep the score after this.
Mrs. Savage, may I interrupt you a moment?
Of course.
There is one other thing you could clear up for me. Why is it suddenly Sunday when it was Sunday only yesterday?
What makes you say it's Sunday?
If your children are coming to visit, it must be Sunday because that's Visitor's Day. I guess I had an awfully good time this week.
It isn't Sunday, Fairy. My brood are coming back because they couldn't wait a week.
That should make you happy.
It should, but it doesn't.
Excuse me, don't you like them?
Oh, not at all.
Oh, I think that's a wicked thing to say.
Well, we have to be wicked once in a while to get God's attention. But if it consoles you, Florence, they were not mine. My husband was left with 3 small children.
But you must have liked them when they were little.
Oh, I wanted to make them my own, desperately. But they always resented me. Why, the first time I held Lily Bell, she bit me. She bit me every day until she was 10.
That must have made you very high-strung.
What stopped her at the exact age of 10?
I suppose at 10, a girl begins to consider her teeth.
But the boys are always so much better.
Not always. They've been spoiled by money. Whenever I tried to correct them, they'd break something I treasured to get even with me. It was a happy day when they went away to school.
School must have taught them something.
Oh, yes, French. And then when they came home, they spoke nothing but French, so I couldn't understand them. And I haven't understood them since.
But you must be proud of them now. The senator is quite famous, isn't he?
That he is. Make no mistake, I'm told he gets more threatening telegrams than any other man in Congress. I believe the Western Union lists him as a tangible asset.
If he's so unpopular, why do voters keep sending him back to Washington?
They're no fools. It's the only way to keep him out of the state.
The other son's a judge, isn't he?
That's a distinction.
He made it one. He has the distinction of having had more of his decisions reversed than any other man in jurisprudence.
Is the daughter pretty, Mrs. Savage?
Well, there's a picture of her in the paper. I'll show it to you and you can judge for yourself.
Oh, don't read us anything out of the paper, please.
I won't. I'll just show you her picture.
Oh, we don't look at pictures either.
People are always pinned under trucks. I'll peek first, just to make sure it isn't horrible.
Believe it, I don't say it's horrible.
Oh, she's a queen. She's wearing a crown. Oh, a queen?
It's a tiara, Fairy. It's an old picture taken when she was still married to her Slovak prince.
Let's take a quick look, Hannibal, just to be polite.
Then she's a princess?
Oh no, she discarded her Slovak prince a good 6 husbands ago.
Oh, but why?
He'll have no music like a woman playing second fiddle.
But she kept the tiara.
Indeed she did. I suspect she sleeps in it.
I don't know when I've seen a prettier tiara.
The dress is cut rather low, isn't it?
I don't like her. Let's do something mean to her. Why, Fairy? Oh, I don't mean really mean. Something like putting her picture on the dartboard and throwing darts at it.
Fairy!
My dear, you're a sweet child. That's exactly what we'll do.
Oh, you wouldn't.
I mean exercise, my dear.
Fairy, you're an evil girl to think up such a thing. Don't talk to me like that. I'm sensitive.
I'm the culprit, Florence. Now, what can I pin this up with?
Mrs. Patty has some Botox.
Oh, Fairy, I am so disappointed in you.
I wish I had died in my cradle.
Mrs. Patty, that's the loveliest seascape I've ever seen. Do you know, I think I can actually smell the ocean. I think your genius lies in your simplicity. You challenge the imagination. Could I borrow 4 thumbtacks? Thank you.
It's setting up a very bad example for motherhood.
Do stop worrying, Florence. Don't you like surprises?
Yes.
Well, I want to surprise Lily Bell. Out, y'all. Now, target for tonight.
Something dreadful is going to happen. I know!
Everybody to the upstairs study. Miss Adams' guests are here.
Miss Willie, may I stay? I never get to meet strangers anymore. Please let me.
I'm sorry, Barry. The senator insisted on privacy.
Someday when I'm ordered out, I'm going to go without saying a word. I have as much pride as anybody.
All the way upstairs now.
How's the weather out there?
Stormy. Here are your guests, Mrs. Savage.
That will be all. You can wait outside.
I'll leave the latch off and be at the hub desk.
I don't know what to say to you, Mother. For the life of me, I don't know what to say.
Polite people say good evening.
Deception is so unlike you.
I'm not angry, just hurt. Have you the faintest idea of the enormity of what you've done? You've sold control of 15 Savage Industries.
We'll have to sell our stock in Savage Grass to buy it back.
You didn't find out I sold that first.
Why must I get lines? I get lines.
What else? What else did you dispose of?
Everything in my name.
Ruined! Where is the money? You couldn't have spent it.
Tell us what you did with it.
Dear, I converted it into neat little bundles of negotiable bonds and buried them.
When you say buried, you mean hidden.
I mean, buried as in funeral.
The ground?
Oh, I feel physically ill.
Where is it buried?
I forget.
Oh Lord, grant my mother one moment of clarity.
Where did you bury it? Concentrate.
Best thing in the world for taking the lines out of the face, Lily Bell. Now I've got to do something about getting you a new eye. Do you know that he places those bare eyes, Lily Bell?
Give me that stupid thing and answer us.
Lily Bell, wait! You're just antagonizing her. We won't get anywhere shouting!
I'm sorry, Mother. Hold your bear. We forget you're sick.
What we must make you understand, Mother, is that the money involved is not what concerns us so much as the disgrace of all. What happened?
She bit me!
Nonsense. Whatever Mother might do, she wouldn't descend to biting.
It was a wasp.
If it ever was a wasp, it's the woman we call Mother. I know when I'm bitten. Teeth marks!
There's no need to raise your voice.
Does it hurt?
Of course it hurts!
Lily Bell, wait. There's no need to fight among ourselves. We'll get nowhere fighting among ourselves. Now stop.
You can't afford anything.
Simply refuse to be angry with you, Mother. Lily Bell, apologize.
I will not.
Lily Bell!
Mother, it's quite all right. I don't object to your biting me, gnaw and mangle me to the bone, gum me to your heart's content. Only tell us what you did with our money.
My money. You've already had your share.
The estate is ours. It belongs to the Savage family for generations.
8 generations.
It's unthinkable that you should be the first Savage to be found wanted.
Found wanting what?
The Savage pride! Now I want you to listen very carefully to what I have to say. The estate has always been a sacred trust. We have never considered ourselves possessors of a great fortune, but custodians of wealth. Don't do that!
Look, I just asked you to look! You throw darts at my picture.
What of it? That can't possibly hurt you.
It's a vicarious form of murdering someone. Just the most vicious sort of voodoo magic known to science.
We're losing ground.
We were fostered by a werewolf. Every savage son of us.
My patience is exhausted. What have you done with the money?
I told you. I buried it.
Where? Unless you tell us at once you're going to a public institution, we'll not tolerate this criminal waste.
You've got me in such a state. I can't think.
Not me.
With all the shouting, you've given me a headache. I can't remember a thing.
What do you mean you can't remember a thing? Of course you can.
I can't. My head is pounding.
Titus, we'd better be careful.
Can we get you something?
The only thing that clears my head are those powders I used to take.
Where are they?
I'm out of them.
We'll get more.
Will you?
Of course.
Here's my prescription numbers. It's for my druggist in Boston.
You mean drive all the way back to Boston?
Where is everyone?
Titus, this is dangerous. We'd better get those powders and come back in the morning. We won't accomplish anything tonight.
Yes, I agree with you. You get the prescription filled.
Get filled, Samuel. When we get back, I'm going straight to bed.
Now, are you prepared to tell us what you've done with the bonds in the morning?
Pound, pound, pound.
I'll tell the chauffeur we're ready.
Now, what got into him? Well, we better go then. We'll be back first thing in the morning.
Pound, pound, pound.
Come, Lilybell. I'll have Dr. Emmett give her a sedative.
Lilybell! Stop!
What do you mean by
Stop! I have something important to tell you. About the bonds. Close the door. Well, I want to tell you, and you alone, where I hid them.
Why me?
Samuel and Titus are fools. And if anything happened to me overnight, the bonds would be lost.
It was Titus who wanted you here, not I. Where did you hide them?
Where would you hide $10 million if you didn't trust the banks?
Well, I don't know.
Under a rock?
Of course not.
Would you hide them under your mattress? Of course, you're never far from your mattress, but what if you were and the house burned down?
Are you going to tell me or not?
Have you ever been to the Museum of Natural History?
No.
Very educational. And fireproof.
Mother, please.
Do you know what's on the 3rd floor of the museum?
How could I?
The Department of Ichthyology.
What are you talking about?
Fish. In the last room, on the 3rd floor, hanging from 2 wires, is a big, dusty porpoise.
Well,
I stuffed my bonds in that stuffed fish when no one was looking.
I don't believe you.
Name me a safer place.
Only a fool would do such a thing.
That's me.
How could you get a package of bonds inside a stuffed fish?
Easy. A razor blade and scotch tape.
How do I know you're telling me the truth?
There's a simple way to find out.
You must think I'm very gullible. I have no intentions of hunting inside a stuffed fish.
Are we to hold the car all night for you, Lilybell? Samuel is honking.
Let him honk.
Dr. Emmett will see you in a few minutes.
Titus,
Yes?
kiss me goodbye.
You bit Lilybell. I don't trust.
That's ironical, because I trust you. I was just about to tell you where the bonds were hidden.
Surely you know I never wanted you here. I listen to Lilybell.
Will you get me out of here and let me alone?
You know I will.
Then I'll tell you. The bonds are in a tin box.
Where?
Do you remember when I went to Washington with a group from Actors Equity?
No.
Well, I do. It was National Ethel Week. We had lunch with the First Lady. There was Ethel Barrymore, Ethel Merman, Ethel
What are you talking about?
My bonds are buried in the President's hot house.
I don't believe.
You didn't leave Pearl Harbor until you investigated.
Why would you choose such a public place? Everyone in and out.
Well, I'm not very bright.
I'm the only man that can't get into the White House.
You should agree with him, officer.
How did I know you didn't imagine this?
There's a simple way to find out. Dig
Oh no, I'm not falling into that trap. You didn't bury the box.
in the corner, under the petunia bed.
Titus, unless you hurry, Samuel's going off without us.
I'm coming! I refuse to believe you.
We listened! We're horrible! We're quite ashamed! Oh, I wish we were dead.
We wanted to stop listening and sneak away, but we couldn't without making too much noise.
Quite all right. No secret. If you'd read the papers, you'd know.
Did you really hide all that money?
I did indeed. For my memorial fund.
And now you're giving it back. You're quite generous for your size and weight.
But you didn't tell the judge where his share was.
The prescription was really a note saying to dig under the chimney.
But why would you go through all the trouble of hiding it if you were just going to tell them where it was?
What makes you say I did?
We heard you.
Yeah.
Foolish I am, but not that foolish. Whatever's in the chimney or in the president's petunias or stuffed in that stuffed fish, I can assure you, it's not my little bundle of bonds.
Then why didn't you say they were?
I want to see to what extent they'll make fools of themselves.
Oh, nothing makes the truth seem more shabby than a magnificent lie. How splendid.
How do you know they'll believe you?
They want to believe me,
Well, they might consider it degrading to go out digging.
but they will.
How can you be sure?
There are a million things a man wouldn't do for $5. But there aren't 5 things he wouldn't do for $1 million. They'll dig. Oh, you startled me.
I didn't know anyone was in here.
And I didn't know you could play the piano.
I only play when I'm alone.
You shouldn't be so shy. No one is going to compare you with a professional.
But I am a professional.
Oh,
I made my debut in town hall a week before the war. Jeffrey Meredith, you see?
oh, why it says here that you're brilliant. Forgive me, Jeff, I should have known.
I was going to tour with the Philharmonic. I didn't, but I have the contract to prove I might have.
But you never play. Oh, do go on. I'd love to hear you.
No, I don't like to be stared at.
I'll turn the other way and listen.
No, I'm sorry, but I'm just not ready to face people yet. Please don't insist.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Thank you. Can you keep a secret?
About 10 minutes.
Dr. Emmett isn't a doctor at all.
What is she?
A patient, just like Mrs. Patty.
Oh, do you think so?
For 5 years now, she's promised to give me a new face.
No, Jeff, she's a doctor. It says so on her door. She wouldn't lie.
Do you believe a man is who they claim to be?
I'm a trusting soul. I try to believe the best in people.
It's best to believe the worst. If you believe the worst, then the worst is only half bad at best, and the best is no worse than expected. So it's best to believe the worst.
You know what, Jeffrey? That's just obscure enough to be profound. What does it mean?
It's simple. When a man says they are wise, you say they are a fool. But if they say they're a fool, you believe them.
Well, only a fool claims to be wise.
Exactly, which proves I'm right. Dr. Emmett is a fool. She claims to be a doctor. The war was over 5 years ago, but where's her miracle?
Some things take a long time to heal, Jeffrey.
Can't wait much longer. I'm getting old. I'll be 26 soon.
And that's ancient. Why don't you forget your appearance and play anyhow? Don't condemn your audience before you've given them a chance to be kind.
Take one look at me and tell me that any audience won't shudder at the sight of me. Look! Don't you see?
I see nothing to hide, Jeffrey.
Dr. Emmett told you what to say.
She didn't, I promise. But I'd trust her if I were you. Give her a little more time.
Very well. I'll give her 5 years more.
Fair enough.
Do you know something?
Not a thing. I'm awed only by the magnitude of what I don't know.
I wouldn't tell this to anyone else. Hannibal really can't play the violin.
No!
Yes!
Well, of course. I'm tone deaf.
I'll tell you something else. Sometimes I wish I was.
Well, you're a sweet boy to pretend.
Poor Hannibal can't play, yet he does. I really can, but I won't. Don't you think that's funny?
Not very.
There's a rat in the hole! A rat as big as a mouse! Get it put onto here quickly, Mrs. Savage!
Fairy, no, there's a rat in the hole.
You put me right off my coffee. But Mrs. Savage doesn't. She's bored here, and I intend to make life exciting for her.
Thank you, Fairy. You'll be glad to know I just aged 50 years. That puts me well over the hundreds mark.
Oh, we must have a birthday party. I'll make candles.
We'll sit down quietly and drink your coffee.
Oh dear, I ate too much again.
You shouldn't exercise right after a meal, Hannibal.
I know, but if I wait until I'm comfortable, my conscience won't needle me.
Are you sure there haven't been any messages or calls from me today?
Positive.
Then is it possible to send to the village to get tonight's newspaper?
Well, if you serve the rest of the coffee, I'll talk to Dr. Emmett.
Gladly.
Here you go, Bingo.
Florence hasn't been served.
Don't stand on manners, Chef. Miss Willie knows just how you like your coffee. I'll get my own.
Very well. Thank you.
You're annoyed.
You single me out for attention, Miss Willie. It's not fair, and it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Jeff, I'm so tired. I didn't remember. You'll have to forgive me?
Of course. I forget too.
Mirror, mirror around the wall. Who's the best dressed of them all? Fairy who?
Cream in your coffee, Fairy?
Please. Do you think this dress does anything for me? I made it myself.
It's sheer delight, Fairy. Sugar?
5. There wasn't time to finish it, so I put it together in pins.
Hannibal?
No, thank you.
Would you like to know of a trick to make that exercise enjoyable?
An enjoyable way of losing weight is yet to be invented.
Well, I know of an improvement. All you need is a deck of cards.
I went to a fortune teller when I was 14. Everything he told me turned out wrong. I never believed in cards after that.
Fairy, fairy, fairy.
Throw them up in the air
Why?
to lose weight. Now, all you have to do is lean over and pick them up again, one by one.
Oh, I like that. It's tidy.
I learned it in a beauty course.
Thank you, Mrs. Savage. It's a great improvement.
Wouldn't it be easier to pick them up sideways?
Much. Man was made all wrong. His stomach should be in back. When he bends, it's in the way. When he sits, his legs buckle out instead of folding neatly behind him. And why should his nose be in front? It only gets in the way when he kisses. I guess God was in a hurry.
Well, Hannibal, what are we doing now?
We're losing weight.
Would you postpone it for a little while? Would you all go up to the study for a few moments? I want to talk to Mrs. Savage. Florence, would you take the coffee up with you?
Oh, I do hate having coffee upstairs. It's so middle class. Where is John Thomas?
I think you left him on the phonograph, Florence.
You're so right. He adores the classics. Upstairs, downstairs, till I think I'll scream. May I stay, Dr. Emmett? No, you may not.
Miss Lily tells me you seem anxious to see tonight's papers. Why?
Got it.
Here they are. It will undoubtedly please you to know that you've caused considerable trouble again.
Have I? Oh, Titus! Right on the front page. Senator trapped in White House hothouse.
I just got off the phone with him. He's exceedingly angry.
Imagine pulling up all those petunias. What will everyone think?
As a result of this, your position here has deteriorated considerably.
And my disposition has blossomed enormously. Anything about Samuel?
Oh, yes. Here's the Boston Post.
Oh, dear, dear. Poor Samuel. All those bricks right on top of him. Chimney collapses on Boston jurist. Well, for some people, it takes a ton of bricks, you know?
How could they have possibly believed you?
They should be committed, shouldn't they? Anything about Lily Bell?
Well, your batting average for mischief is 100%, Mrs. Savage.
Oh, dear! What a horrible photo of Lily Bell!
This would frighten even Fairy.
According to this, she resisted arrest.
So I see. Female heiress invades museum. Berserk heiress bites police. Now they really are fools, aren't they, Doctor?
What do you hope to gain, Mrs. Savage?
Better terms
For your freedom.
for my husband's memorial fund.
Your children believe that money could be put to better use.
Of course, their own. Lily Bell settled over $1 million on her 6 husbands. Samuel and Titus spent as much to secure jobs which they had no right. Is that better use?
Your children say your memorial is most unorthodox.
That's absurd. There are plenty of charities for foolish people in a desperate need, and none for people with a desperate need to be foolish.
What brought you to that conclusion?
My own life. No matter what we have, we never forget the foolish things we never got. I'm sure if Hannibal had been given a violin when he wanted one, he wouldn't need one now.
That's quite possible.
I want my husband to be remembered with the warmth and gratitude for a few foolish dreams that came true. I will not give up my memorial to him.
I want to discuss this with you further, but at the moment you have visitors waiting.
You may come in now, Senator.
Excuse me, I'll just be outside.
My headache's gone.
How dare you make a fool of me? How dare you?
You tried to kill me. If you knew that, shouldn't you have followed me if I started pulling bricks from it, didn't you?
We're not a very bright family, are we?
Oh, you must be proud indeed to see the Savage name held up to ridicule again!
Did you dig, Titus?
8 FBI men jumped me, pushed my face in the dirt, thought I was planning a bomb!
Why didn't you tell the truth? I did. Sleepwalking, really?
You try and think of an excuse with 8 men on your chest!
She'd love the chance.
I learned today that the senator's mother, Mrs. Ethel P. Savage, the actress, was recently committed for irresponsible actions. Democratic leaders were quick to point out that this may explain the career of strange behavior in Congress by the senator. Do you realize what this does to me politically?
Makes you a more canard
to compromise.
That means you'll see things my way, then compromise is the right word.
I will consider effecting your release into the custody of someone for a period of time. It would look better for us.
And I'd be willing to give her complete freedom if she'd give up acting and lead a dignified life.
Freedom, as Titus can tell you, is the right to make the wrong choice.
What would we get?
That's what I like about you, Titus. No nonsense. You will each receive a reasonable yearly allowance.
How reasonable.
I shall be generous, but the bulk of the estate must be given to my fund.
It's completely mad.
We might have the commitment revoked only to have you play another trick on us. Where would we be then?
Where are you now?
Get it over with, Titus.
Very well. Right of attraction, Sam.
When I'm released, I shall keep my promise. But I warn you, don't have me followed.
Samuel, wait a minute.
What is it?
I found the answer on the cover of this medical journal.
What are you talking about?
A way to avoid your compromise. But I have to talk to Dr. Emmett first.
Are you going to sign that petition, Lilybell?
Titus, don't you sign anything till I get back.
Lilybell? What could she have read?
God knows.
Something to trick you, I'm sure. If you listen to her again, you'll end up without a cent.
What'll I do?
Finish it. Lilybell's got us into trouble enough.
And be quick about it. Your and Samuel's signature will be enough.
How many T's in commitment?
3.
2.
Doesn't look right.
Give me your pen.
Give it back.
All it needs to say is that the commitment was ill-advised and request release. Will that satisfy you?
It will when you sign it.
Sign it, Samuel.
What are you doing?
We are signing the letter. Sign it, Lilybell.
It isn't necessary.
Oh, you'll regret this.
Lilybell, you've no right to act without consulting us.
Do be quiet. Read that.
Read what?
The article in sodium pentothal. Well, perhaps I'd better let Dr. Emmett explain. Will you tell them what sodium pentothal does, Doctor?
Well, it's generally used in cases of shock. It releases tension and removes the patient's inhibitions and makes them receptive to suggestion.
It's called the truth drug.
That's not quite accurate, however.
But under its influence, the patient answers truthfully. Isn't that so?
If they answer at all.
Did you want me, doctor?
Yes, just a moment.
Dr. Emmett, get some of this truth drug at once and administer it to my mother.
Haven't I any rights at all, Doctor?
I beg your pardon, Dr. Emmett, but surely you're not going to listen to these people. It's flagrant misuse of science.
Doctor, I order you to give my mother this drug at once!
Mrs. Savage, if I refuse, your guardians are quite within their legal rights of removing you from my authority. I am confident they will find a means of subjecting you to sodium pentothal elsewhere. Then let someone else be responsible, Doctor. $10 million hidden from you does no one any good. Least of all, you. It's an ever-present symptom of psychotic thinking. This is your chance to prove you can make a rational decision. An intelligent mind will recognize defeat.
Well, let it be known that I was not forced to my knees by science. I will tell you where the bonds are.
Wait! We've come to the rescue! It's not too late!
Just stand by you, Mrs. Savage!
We just happen to be listening. Shame on you, and you, and you.
Dr. Emmett, who are these people?
These are my friends.
Didn't I tell you to stay upstairs, Annabelle?
I want to protest, Doctor.
Who gives you the right to protest, sir? This doesn't concern you.
I love you all for wanting to try and help. But Dr. Emmett hasn't much choice, as you must have heard.
What are you going to do, Mrs. Savage?
Give them the bonds.
I think you've made the right decision, Mrs. Savage.
Are you going to tell us or not?
I'm going to show you. We are going to show you.
Oh, you'll hurt it!
Here's your treasure.
My God. She has been doing all the time!
Where is that light switch? Someone turn those lights on!
Time to strike that!
I haven't done that! Someone turn those lights on, do you hear me? Who turned those lights out?
One of our patients. Oh, Mrs. Patty.
Where's Lily, Doctor?
She's disappeared.
My gracious! What are you doing down there?
Somebody pushed me.
It wasn't me. I wasn't near enough.
They're gone. The bonds are gone.
God.
What did you do with them?
I put them on the table. You saw me do it yourself.
Then where are they?
Excuse me, Senator. Well, I'd say Mrs. Patty has them. Well, it seems obvious to me that she turned off the lights, took the bonds, and ran.
Miss Lily, get Mrs. Patty, notify the guards at once, and stop her before she destroys those bombs.
Yes, oh, I can't bear it. I simply can't bear it.
Well, this'll calm you.
Darling Mrs. Patty. Come on, girls. Let's go for a walk.
Why? This is simply a madhouse!
Yes, Miss Wilhelmina? Good. Good. Good.
Well,
The staff is alerted and all the wards have been locked off and Miss Willie is searching in the basement now.
but did she find that woman?
Not yet.
Then what in heaven's name was all the good about?
Senator, we're taking every possible precaution.
That maniac has $10 million worth of negotiable bonds. If they're not found, they can't be replaced.
Well, what will she do with them, Doctor?
Oh, she'll probably eat them.
I don't know, but we're certain to recover them. It may take a little time.
Years, probably.
They were right in front of us. Within our grasp. Why didn't you stop her?
How did I know the lights were going out?
It's quite possible Mrs. Patty didn't take him at all.
Of course she did. No one else could have taken them.
You could have,
Lily Bell was 10 feet from the table.
but she's mighty quick when it comes to money. Personally, I think she took them and stuck them down her front. Heaven knows there's room. Why don't you search her?
You didn't take them, Lilybell, did you?
Can't you see she's trying to make us suspect each other?
Well, I suppose someone else could have taken them. He was nearest the table when the lights went out.
He was right beside her.
Well, what have you got to say?
I didn't take them. I don't like bonds.
The Queen of Spades! Somebody's going to die. Dr. Emmett, must we have these people here?
Get them out of here! No? No. Don't let anyone out of our sight until he's searched!
Everybody, off with their clothes. My glasses too?
Just a moment. Mrs. Savage, please do not make this any more difficult than you already have.
Oh, for God's sake! Do something about these hands tossing cards around. My nerves are on edge.
Hannibal, don't.
Don't do this!
this! Don't do that! Don't do this! Don't do that! I understand you have a lovely tiara. Do you sleep in it?
Sit down, you unattractive creature! I have had quite enough! I don't like you.
Fairy, sit down and be quiet while we wait.
Very well.
Fairy! Excuse me, I'm upset.
Well, Mrs. Patty, you have had the entire staff searching for you.
Someone stop her. Don't let her get away.
I think you better come join us. We'd like to talk to you.
Now we'll find where those bonds are. Madam, hand over the bonds.
Senator, you better let me question her. She's not going to answer you.
Oh, yes, she will.
Oh no, she won't.
We'll just see about this. Well, madam, what have you to say for yourself?
Hey! Everything! In the world. But most of all, I hate revolving doors, cuspidors, fights, fuzz, fleas, bumblebees, prickly heat, bats, gnats, pills, pots, pans, butts, bladders, worms, germs, pachyderms, and politicians!
What does she mean?
Excuse me, please. Fairy.
Madam, did you hear what I asked you?
Hey, Senator, Mrs. Patty hears you well enough, but she's not going to answer you. She hasn't answered the question in 20 years.
Don't try any tricks on me, madam.
Don't make her mad, Titus. She carries a knife.
Mrs. Savage! Mrs. Patty does not carry a knife. She is hostile, but quite harmless. Now, if you'd be so kind as to yield the floor to me, Senator.
Very well, but I want to hear her talk.
So do we all.
Now, Mrs. Patty, this is really important. I want you to nod yes or no to the questions that I ask you. Now, did you take some bonds from the table a few minutes ago?
She did and she didn't.
Oh, this is exciting. I wish we could open a door and have a body fall out.
Mrs. Patty, now, do you remember turning the lights out a few moments ago? Yes, you do. And do you remember the little bundle of bonds on the table? Try to remember. Think.
Dr. Emmett, I found them.
Oh, no, you don't. Hand them over to me, madam. I'll take charge of these.
Oh, look! Radio tubes!
You said you'd found the bonds!
I did them with a sword. Where did you find them, Miss Willie? In the hot air ducts in the fairies room. I told you I was cold all winter and you wouldn't believe me!
I hold you completely responsible for this fiasco, Doctor.
Just what do you suppose that I do, Senator?
Search that woman. She may have them hidden on her person.
Well, I'm afraid this is going to present a problem.
Well, then search everyone else while we focus on making her talk.
Very well. Miss Willie, will you take Mrs. Savage to her room and search her, please? No! Take me! I'm the youngest and can undress the quickest. Or do you want to draw straws?
You go ahead, Fairy. I don't want to miss anything.
Thank you. Would you like to come with me, Fairy? Oh, yes. Did you know I was once asked to play Lady Godiva for the Elks pageant? But I didn't. My mother was afraid of somebody else.
Mrs. Patty, wouldn't you like to save us a lot of trouble?
Haven't you some sort of threat you resort to here?
I don't threaten my patients.
The truth
Of course. We'll use the truth drug on her, then we can make her talk.
I'm afraid that's out of the question. I'd have to get her guardian's permission.
Very well, who is her guardian?
Her husband.
We'll get him on the phone. Where is he?
Japan.
Well, in his absence, haven't you the authority to act?
We have no proof that she took them yet.
I still think Lily Bell's your girl.
Will you stop saying that?
Dr. Emmett,
Yes, Steph.
since Miss Savage can't have her bonds anyhow, I think I can help you.
Yes.
Mrs. Patty didn't take them
How do you know?
because I took them.
He's a thief. I knew we were being tricked. Hand them over, young man.
I can't.
Did you take them, Jeffrey?
Yes, doctor.
Then where did you put them?
I've searched for your doctor. She doesn't have them.
I threw them out the window.
Go outside, quickly! Titus, we'll watch from the window.
Stop! Parcheesi, the royal game of India.
Jeff, you couldn't have thrown them out the window. The window is closed.
Oh.
What do you mean by misleading?
Go at him, you stupid ox!
He said he took the box.
Well, he didn't. I happen to know that he didn't.
And just how do you happen to know that?
That's none of your business.
How do you know, Miss Willie?
Because I had my arms around Jeff when the lights went out. I wanted to protect him during the confusion.
Thank you, Miss Willie.
But that's not true. I took them, no one else.
Dr. Emmett! Miss Willie! Something awful is happening! There's a fire upstairs, please! This high!
Mary, you mustn't. We've company.
But they were this high, at least.
Where?
In the bathtub.
Mary, sit down.
I can't. Both pins.
If you did take the bonds, Jeff, where did you put them?
I already told you. Couldn't have taken them.
Of course he couldn't. If anyone should know that, I should.
Now I suppose you took them.
I confess everything. There's a fire upstairs. There's a conspiracy down here.
Where did you put them, Florence?
I won't tell you.
These people are trying to deceive us.
I have committed this theft with full knowledge of the stigma involved. Something's burning upstairs.
Better search her.
Green little man!
Miss Willie, take Florence to your room and search her.
Come along, Florence.
I'll never tell Mrs. Savage. Even if they put me in solitary confinement. I cut off all my hair!
It's a waste of time!
Just search dear Florence.
Now I suppose you took them.
No! But I know who did.
I know a fire when I see one.
Who did, Hannibal?
It wasn't Mrs. Patty.
Who was it?
It wasn't Florence either.
I don't want to know who it wasn't. I want to know who was it.
Is that the grammar?
If you ask a Mohammedan what God is, he'll name all the things he isn't. It's easier than telling what he is.
And one of the things he isn't on your side.
Hannibal, if you know who took the bonds, will you just tell us?
I'm not sure who took them, but I know it was a woman, and I know it wasn't Mrs. Patty.
How do you know?
A woman pushed me out of the way to get them.
How do you know it was a woman?
Really, Titus?
How do you know it was not Mrs. Patty?
She doesn't use perfume.
Lily Bell bathes in it.
I was nowhere near the table.
Could you identify the scent?
I think so.
Well, I use gardenia. What do you use, Fairy?
No name. I make my own.
Hannibal? Smell Lily Bell.
Titus, I won't tolerate this. They're making fools of us for their own amusement.
Smell anything, Hannibal?
Yes!
What?
Smoke.
High time.
Why, I must be losing my mind. I smell smoke too.
Dr. Emmett,
I found a fire in Miss Patty's bathtub.
I don't think I'll speak to anyone. The bathtub.
I'm afraid it's the bonds. Or what's left of them.
Oh, no. No, no,
Let me
no.
see. Why, there's no telling what these are.
Mrs. Patty, did you take the bonds to your room and set fire to them?
Here's a part of something that didn't burn, Senator. Can you tell us what it is?
Why, it's the burnt corner of a $500,000 bond.
Are you Mrs. Savage, is there any way that you can identify this?
Well, the treasure hunt is over. This is all that's left of $10 million.
I should have told a lie. Then someone would have believed me.
Yes, I'm sorry, Barry. I should have believed you. Anyhow,
There must be a way of getting these replaced, Senator.
Well, there isn't.
They can't be gone. They just can't.
Why, you miserable, useless creature, do you know what you cost
Let
us?
us alone, Titus. Never mind, Mrs. Patty.
now I've stood for about as much bullying of my patients as I intend to. Now would you all be so kind as to leave here at once?
What about the bird piece? Is it worth anything?
Nothing. I hold you personally responsible for this.
I can't be torn. I don't know how.
It's all right, Lilybell. We'll survive. We always have. I am still senator.
Lilybell, I never intended it to end like this. You have to believe me.
Take me home, Titus.
Please. Titus,
Yes?
what happens to me?
You have nothing to worry about. We would never allow you to be sent to a public institution.
We are savages.
Goodbye! We say goodbye to people we don't want to see again.
Oh, don't cry, Mrs. Patty. I'm sure you hate tears too.
Maybe she thinks her tub is cracked. Did you think you could change me, Mrs. Savage?
No one changes people. One makes changes people learn to accept. I had hoped that by making them look like fools, they might look with understanding on the fools of good heart.
And who are the fools of good heart?
I'd say those who gamble on people and invest in kindness. Those who doubt that position means privilege or that manners mean morals. And of course, the rebels with no fear of failure.
Now that makes very good sense.
And justifies my being here.
Would you like to leave?
They would never let me go.
They have no say. No patient's commitment is final until I've made my decision, and I see it as no reason for your remaining.
Does that mean I'm free?
Well, I could let you go on my own authority at once, but let me talk to the medical examiner, and I'll let you know definitely.
I think I'll go pack your bags. We can always unpack again.
You hate us.
What makes you say that, Barry?
You want to leave us.
Barry, I must.
Does someone need you?
No.
Is someone waiting for you?
No.
But you can't leave. I haven't had time to get you a going away present. Maybe I can find a suitable one. Anyhow, it won't be fussy. I'll go look. I'd like to see what I can find for you too, Mrs. Savage. Will you wait? Oh, fun! Come everyone, let's see what we can find.
I have something I just remembered.
Now, don't leave before we get back, or you won't get anything. I'll try to find you something useless. I do abhor practical gifts.
There's nothing in my room you want, Mrs. Savage. What? There is something on me that I prize. My class ring. Inside it says, "Let there be light." Something Mrs. Patty would hate.
No, I couldn't take the ring off your finger.
Oh, but I insist. It has no value as gold goes, but as blood goes, it's a statistical treasure. My heart has pumped my blood through this ring every 2 seconds for 10 years. Well, that adds up to roughly about 100,000 gallons of blood.
It's too much, Hannibal.
Not at all. But I can't seem to get it off.
Keep it. I deeply appreciate the offer, the sentiment, and the statistics.
My finger has got too fat on each side of the ring.
Never mind, Hannibal. You've had it so long it's become a part of you.
Oh, I'm all out of breath. Feel my heart.
Very dear.
But I found something. I hope you didn't expect much because then you won't be disappointed.
I won't be disappointed.
I couldn't find anything to wrap it in except Kleenex. You can feel my heart too, Hannibal.
Thank you. About 104 beats to the minute, I'd say.
Oh, how nice.
What is it?
A handkerchief.
Oh no, it's a napkin. So many places serve paper napkins, but they blot or smear.
Bless you, Fairy. I'll take it with me whenever I'm invited out.
It says the cloisters on it. Wasn't that lucky?
Oh, Fairy found you something first. What did she give you?
A hand-picked napkin.
Then it fits in perfect with my present. It is practical after all. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
What is it?
Salt shaker.
And full of salt, too.
It's engraved. It says the cloisters on it.
How lovely.
Is it sterling? Very dear. I wouldn't dream of giving Mrs. Savage anything that wasn't sterling. Oh, it's dented. Very, really, dents give an antique character.
Indeed they do.
Well, I'm not going to say goodbye. I can't stand goodbyes. I don't recognize them. Oh, you didn't expect us to say goodbye, did you?
I didn't even expect the salt shaker.
Well, how do you do, Mrs. Savage? We've so looked forward to meeting you. We're so happy you're here at last. Make yourself at home. Oh, I almost forgot. John Thomas asked me to give you something from him. He was afraid you'd catch his measles if he delivered it himself. Come, Fairy. Let's pretend it's gone now. Excuse us. We have to go dig weeds. Take an umbrella. It's raining.
Well, Jeffrey, what did you bring?
Just a book. I hope you like it.
What is it, Mrs. Savage?
The Lifespan of the Ape. Do you know I've never read it?
I was lucky, wasn't I?
I'll read it tonight.
We thought you'd forgotten us, Mrs. Patty.
What did you bring, Mrs. Patty?
Oh, how did you know this is just what I needed?
May I see it?
A genuine mother of pearl button, all sewed on at once.
Oh, I think it's intended to make a new hive, but for the bear.
Of course. Bless your aching heart. We both thank you. He's hated having only one eye.
I hate everything in the world. I hate everything in the world. But I hate everything in the world but you. And I love you. And I wish you wouldn't leave us.
Why? She said she loved me.
Well?
Aren't you amazed?
Why?
She spoke.
She had to. She had to say it.
Well, Jeffrey, shall we see what the girls are up to? It's a lovely night, and everybody's polite. Watch out. Don't break your neck.
You have a good seat.
I think I have everything. Here's your $85 hat. I told you you'd want it again.
My beautiful and foolish hat.
Where did they all go?
They gave me going away presents and refused to say goodbye.
I'll bet I can guess what they gave you.
No, you can't. Mrs. Patty gave me an eye with which to see myself. Florence, a grain of salt to take as what I see.
That's good. And Fairy?
A memory of loveliness.
I'm afraid to most people she wouldn't seem such a lovely girl.
She wears her plainness with great beauty.
Anything from Jeff?
The Book of Job.
Nothing from Hannibal?
I'd say he gave me an appreciation for music I never had before.
Well, I have something to give you too. It isn't much.
Better not be. My God.
Except for the corner of that one I had to burn to make it look convincing.
Dear, where did you find these?
I didn't. I stole them when the lights went out.
Why?
I don't know.
Don't tell me you're a kleptomaniac.
It was too quick to think. What bothers me is that after I took them, I toyed with the idea of keeping them.
That's a normal impulse. What stopped you?
What Jeff might think.
You should get away from here, dear. That kind of thinking isn't good for you.
But you knew Jeff was my husband, didn't you?
I certainly did not.
Well, he is. I want to be here when he recovers. And you know why I wouldn't keep any of that money? Pure selfishness. I want to do everything for him myself. Surely you understand that?
The only thing I don't understand is how I could have ever felt so sorry for myself. Isn't there something about no fool like a you-know-what?
Something. But I don't think it applies to you.
Does anyone else know about these?
I told Dr. Emmett.
Well, whether you want it or not, you'll both be hearing from my memorial fund.
Captain Medical Examiner.
Yes?
The station wagon is outside ready to take you whenever you want to go. Will you take Mrs. Savage's bags out to the car?
Yes, doctor.
I have a few papers for you to sign and then you're free to go whenever you want.
Oh, I must be out of my mind, really. I don't want to go.
You mean you'd prefer to leave tomorrow?
I don't think I want to leave at all.
Why do you want to stay?
Suddenly, I'm weary. I would like to rest. I would like to be relieved of decision. I would like to be protected against uncertainty and accident. I would like to close my eyes at night and know that there are walls to guard my sleep.
But the peace you find here is the moon reflected on a dark lake, strikes the surface and he'll destroy it. Is that the kind of peace that you want?
I want what everyone wants. To want nothing. These people have found contentment.
How do you know?
I have eyes to see.
So has Jeffrey, but he only sees what he wants to see, an excuse for not facing the future. Does Florence see that her child was taken from her? Does Fairy see what the mirror should tell her? No. They have found refuge in an eggshell world where you do not belong, for you see yourself clearly, I am sure.
Then where do I belong?
In the world you can best serve. The impulse to live your life with courage was right. So go ahead with your memorial, but don't be betrayed by the illusion of contentment. The door is open for you. Make your peace with loneliness.
Oh, you're still here. I just thought about what I can give you.
Oh, no, Hannibal, not your violin.
Oh no, you couldn't play it. But I can give you a song that you can take wherever you go. Here is your song.